All right, I just want to remind you how to do this analysis in Logger Pro. We're going to go Insert to Movie. And I'm just going to show you an example video, not the actual one from Osmos. I showed you this one before, but again, just as a reminder, and in particular I want to show you how the analysis may be different for this lab than previous labs. This was a case of a ball just rolling across the floor. So we go to where that's about to start, and I get these tools out. And in this case, I don't need to set the scale at all. Osmos, we don't know the scale. So I'm just going to go to Add Data Points, right? And then I click on the object. Again, I'm clicking in the same part of the object. So in this case, I'm just clicking at the front of the ball in every frame. Now, in Osmos, we're dealing in one dimension only, and we're really dealing only with constant speed. So we're not worried about acceleration at all, but we're trying to measure that speed as accurately as we can. Once you've got a few data points, okay, we can get the video sort of out of the way. And I want to show you how I'd like you to go about measuring speed. What we'll do is we'll just graph the x-axis. So I'm going to select x, the x motion that is, versus time. And we should, hopefully, if it's moving at a constant speed, see something like a straight line. Now to find the velocity, I'd like us to fit a line to this data. So we're going to do that with this trend line button, curve fit. F of x equals, I'll push that. And it's a straight line, so I want a linear fit. I'll select linear. Okay, and I want it to try to fit, so I'll click the try fit button. And we'll see here that it'll fit for me slope and y-intercept. Now the slope, in this case of position versus time, represents the speed. So this value, this negative 337.3 in this case, would represent the speed in pixels per second. Right, because pixels are the actual units of the video itself. So we don't know how many meters there are in the video, but from Osmos especially, we don't know how many meters there are. But since we're taking a ratio of velocities, the units don't really matter. They'll cancel out. So this is the value that I'd like to get, but I want to get more than that. I also want to get an uncertainty on that value. So I'm going to click OK. And what it's going to tell me in this fit here, you'll see, is that it gives me a slope negative 337.3, but it also gives me an uncertainty, plus or minus 1.962. It gives me too many digits, right? Really, I would say this is 337 plus or minus 2, all right, as I enter that in my data table. Okay, and that's the value I'm really interested in. That's the speed that we're going to measure using Osmos. So what you're going to do is, using a link from the lab, you're going to download a video capture from Osmos. Let me just show you what that's going to look like as you get it in here. We'll get a new page here. So you'll download this video and then you'll upload it. The Osmos 1 is the one you'll start with. Okay, and in the same way that we just did that analysis, we're going to look at this case 1. So it doesn't start till right about there. Okay, and I have these two guys moving apart from each other. And so it's not moving at first, so there's no velocity to measure at first, but as soon as it starts moving away from each other, I want to measure the velocity of the small guy, and I want to measure the velocity of the big guy. And that's what I'm going to take a ratio of, the large and the small. Now to get two different sets of measurements, what I need to do is I'll start at the very beginning, right when they separate, and I'll click on Add Data, and I'll maybe use the small guy first, and I'll just click on the same spot in each image for the small guy, right? Collect your data, analyze its velocity, and because of the frame rate, you might see it goes further in some frames than other frames, but just keep clicking on it, do the best you can. Once you collect that data and analyze the graph, now you want to collect data on the big guy, and so you want to add a new data set. And the way you do that is there's these red and green dots here that say, I'm going to click on that, and it says add a point series. So I'll click add point series, and it'll start now x2 and y2. And so now it should be a different color. I'm going to rewind my video. And now again, right when they go apart, now I'm going to look at the motion of this big guy. And this especially is going to move very slowly. So just do the best you can trying to click on the same part of the mote, even if it looks like it's hardly moved at all. All right, and then you can analyze the motion of each of those separately to try to measure their velocities. Okay, in the same way, when you get to case 2, let's just take a quick look at that. All right, here's case 2, and now I've got the incoming motion of this guy. That's one of my velocities that I'm interested in. And then they collide, but while they're colliding, I don't know what's happening. I don't really care what's happening. I'm interested in after they're done colliding, Now it's moving at a new speed, right? There's a new speed here at the end. And that's my second velocity. So my first set of measurements is going to be prior to collision, and I'll analyze velocity, and then I'll add a new data set, and then my second velocity will be completely after the collision is finished, and now it's moving at a slower speed. All right, so that's the kind of data you're going to take using Logger Pro.